Hey, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, and Hudco Roofing, HUDCORoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing and HUDCORoofing.com. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with us here on this Tuesday. LSU lands a significant recruiting haul. If you were following all of LSU's staff and recruiting staff on Twitter, they sort of teased that that this was coming, and boy, did it. So LSU picks up 3 more commits on the 4th of July. So run through them. Deshaun Womack, who is a defensive lineman out of St. Francis Academy in Baltimore. That's a powerhouse high school football program in the Baltimore area. 6'4", 255. He becomes the second highest rated commit in the class, behind only Jackson Howard, who they got 4 days ago on July 1st. So Jackson Howard out of Minneapolis, your highest rated recruit. Deshaun Womack, who you got on the 4th of July, your second highest rated recruit, at number 106 nationally. Mac Markway, the tight end out of St. Louis, who had been your highest rated recruit for a long time, is now your third highest rated recruit. Of course, you got Joshua Mickens on the 3rd. Also on the 4th, they got, I don't know if he says Darren Reed or Daron Reed, but Darron. We'll go with Darren Reed. He's out of Columbus, Georgia, 4-star. He's also a defensive lineman, noticing a trend here. And then they finished off the day with a commit from Ashton Stamps, who is a cornerback out of Rummel. 6 foot, 170 pounder. He is a 3-star, ranked number 811 nationally, so not a very highly rated prospect, but the general consensus on him is like long freak show athlete, and his star rating will climb during his senior year. So that's the Louisiana prospect that you took. We'll say some good mornings here in just a quick second. So just to kind of as a recap, LSU went from having 5 commits, at the beginning of last week, whenever 8 days ago, when there's some beeping in there. Sorry. LSU went from 5 commits when we were, anyway. So when sorry, I think Eric was about to come in here. I heard something beeping. Anyway. All right, sorry, I'll refocus. So they went from 5 commits, and Derek Williams, the 5-star safety out of Texas, or out of Westgate, committed to Texas, and we're having a conversation about Brian Kelly, and if he can recruit here, and if prospects from here don't want to come here. Like, some of those questions still naturally persist, considering you've only got 2 commits from the state of Louisiana. You got Trey Holly, the running back, who's been committed for some time, and now Ashton Stamps, the cornerback out of Rummel. So you still need to do work in the state of Louisiana. You got time to do that. The bigger, the other big point here I would tell you is, sorry, I got really distracted there. Jamar Cain. Shea, when he was with us last week, kind of said this. He was like, look, Jamar Cain has taken the approach of he had recruited all these guys to Oklahoma, and he leaves from Oklahoma. There's a head coaching change at Oklahoma as well. Comes to LSU. He goes to all the guys that he'd done all this work recruiting, and said, look, just follow me to LSU now. It's same pitch, great facilities, great tradition, great history, great conference, all that sort of stuff. And a lot have listened. So right now you've got 4 defensive linemen in your class, 4 defensive backs, 2 receivers, and 1 running back. So One of the receivers obviously would be Mac Markway, the tight end, counting as a pass catcher, but tight end. All right, let's say some good morning, see what y'all got. We are going to wrap up here in about 15 minutes. I got to get Drew to the doctor this morning, so we'll just kind of do a normal day like we would during a school day. So, all right, David Coslin, Truax, what's good, man? Ricky Lambert, Jason Aguilar, good morning. Just bought a new house in Springfield on the river. No longer on Blue Bond. All right, Jason, congrats, man. That's awesome. Congrats to you, man. Home ownership's an awesome thing. I don't know if it's your first home, but congrats. Hey, Dad, good morning. Quentin Breakbill, Ricky Lambert. Got my wife watching you now. She's becoming a fan. I love it. Thank you, Ricky. I'll tell you this. This happens often. I'll get approached a lot of times by ladies who watch the show, and they'll say, well, I know it's guys who watch your show. I'm like, you would be surprised at how many ladies who love the Tigers, love the Saints, whatever, watch the show. And they, like, I know our demographics. Our demographics are 20% female. And that may not seem like a lot, but in a male-dominated genre, to have 20% female audience is significant. So welcome to your wife, who you didn't tell me her name, but welcome to her. Tyler Alexander, what's up, man? Saw Jared Jones made it to campus over the weekend. Do you know any inside information on more transfers Jay may be getting? I do. I'm not going to disclose. There is a pitcher for sure that they're waiting to see what happens with the draft, but is quite possible. So yeah, I don't think they're done. Stephen Fry, LJ and Sissy Revere, good morning. Kelly Gross, Thomas Bergeron, Manny Troncoso, Michael Cook, Clark Tiger Davis, good morning. Trivia Carter, what's up? Pat Huseman, Landon Miller, Kirk Taylor, Spurge, good morning. Larry Gardner, Shane Henry. I like it when Coach K says, hold my beer. Coach K? Are you talking about Brian Kelly? Because if you say Coach K, I'm immediately thinking Mike Krzyzewski. That's got to be about Brian Kelly. And I don't know, Pat, that you're using the phrase correctly. Anyway. Cody Boudreaux, good morning. George the Greek, what's going on? Let's see. Coach O is here to tell you block out the noise, Scone. Tim Gotro. All right, Taylor Castanier. Jamar Cain being one of the only coaches coming from a blue blood program really showed this weekend. That's true, right? I mean, that's kind of the that was kind of the point. And good on Shea for kind of having a little bit of that foresight. By the way, I don't know if y'all do, but if you don't, you should. You should follow LSU. If you're on Twitter, you should follow LSU's recruiting staff on Twitter. So, like, Sherman Wilson, who is one on the LSU recruiting staff, right? His Twitter handle is at iRecruitDaboot, D-A-B-O-O-T, iRecruitDaboot. John Randall Belton is LSU's director of recruiting. So these are all the guys that work in the recruiting office, like off field. Well, they organize recruiting events. They, help host recruits on campus. They stay in touch with them. They get information, help them, like all that sort of stuff. Well, John Randall Belton tweeted last night, like late last night. This was after 6 p.m. And he tweeted a GIF of Jalen Ramsey saying, I think we ain't done yet. So, we'll see. Seems like they may not be done yet. So let's see if today is as impactful a day. Maybe not as impactful as yesterday, but let's, keep that momentum rolling. Chet Buxton, Kirk Taylor, everything okay with Drew? Yeah, so Drew has an infection in his feeding tube. And so we've been trying to, he's tried several different antibiotics. It's not getting any better. So, good to go have the doctor put eyes on it today. So, but all good. I mean, he's fine. Like he's not showing symptoms or behavior changes or anything like that. It's just, his feeding tube is, peg there is just very clearly red and infected. And anyway, y'all need to hear all that. But yes, but he's okay. Let's see, Hunter Fournette, Justin Frank, what up? Green Z, any news on Jack Walker? So that's a Mississippi State transfer. So yeah, I'll just tell you flatly what I've been told, Green Z. So Jack Walker was the number one player in Louisiana last year out of Barr as a pitcher. Went to Mississippi State. LSU just got in on him late, and he stayed true to his commitment to Mississippi State. Good on the kid. Apparently Jack Walker goes to Mississippi State and did what a lot of freshmen do, and that's partied a little too hard, gained a little too much weight, didn't focus enough. So he essentially was not welcome back at Mississippi State. Like, he was purged. His fastball lost life. He lost command. I mean, he just didn't pitch meaningful innings for them. So I was told point blank LSU would take him if he wanted to come walk on as a no money guy. Like, if you didn't get any scholarship money, but he's got a little ways to go to get himself back into form to be the pitcher that he was recruited to be. But I don't think but he's not going to end up. He's not going to end up at LSU. Not on money anyway. Not on scholarship. Let's see. Brandon, hope Drew is good and the doc is able to do a quick fix on the feeding tube. Team Drew always. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that, man. Quick fix probably isn't really in the cards, and we've been to the doctor a couple times before they tried it. I think he's on his third different antibiotic now, so this was the strongest one. It doesn't seem to be working, but we'll see. Let's see what our options are tonight. It's all good, man. Drew is we've been through much worse. Let's see. Brian Penton, good morning. Oh, man, Panda. Stop barking, crazy dog. If you wake up, Drew, I'll throw you out the house. Okay. You can sit on my lap, but you can't be a crazy person and bark at everybody, okay? All right, come sit. All right. Here's the girls. For those who are uninitiated, Ellie, Panda. We are watching Erica's sister's dogs. They are on vacation, so we are dog sitting, and they're staying with us for the week. And Panda, the little one, Panda has found her vocal cords. Ellie is her mama, and Ellie just wants to sit on your lap and snuggle all day, and it's the cutest thing in the world. And Panda is adorable. She plays, and she's so much fun. We've got to work on her vocal cords, though. So, but it's okay. She's a puppy. She's a puppy, huh? She's just a puppy. Let's see. Where are we? Brian Penton, good morning from Garden City, Kansas. Wonder where that is, Brian. So my sister, she's in town. She and her family moved to Overland Park, which is a suburb of Kansas City on the Kansas side. Reagan Lee heard Gavin Guidry's dad post about him moving onto campus. Remember, Reagan, that's common, okay? Like, if they're following the schedule, of course they move onto campus because they're going to be here for whatever summer session that they'll be in. But, like, normally the draft has already happened, and we're in that getting close to the deadline to sign. But this is very common where you see this, where guys will move on to campus, they'll enroll in classes. Remember Zach Lee? Remember Zach Lee, the football player? Like, he was at football practice. One day he was there, and then the next day the Dodgers offered him $6 million and he wasn't. So I'm not trying to throw a wet blanket on the fire there, but him moving on to campus isn't a big deal. I mean, of course he's going to move on to campus if this is the schedule and this is an option that's open to him. Regina Cyrus Heine, good morning. We listen to you all the time. My humble 8-year-old, while listening to Morning Scone last week, said, Miss Scone should be talking about me. I went undefeated in softball, won the championship, and now I'm an all-star. Has LSU baseball ever been undefeated? Would you give Juliet and her 7-8 rec ball team a good morning? Well, good morning to Juliet, and shout out to your softball team and the great season that you had. And no, I don't think an LSU baseball team ever has gone undefeated, unless if it was like back in 1895 or something like that, and they played like 6 games and won them all, which I don't think they did. So no, I don't think LSU's ever gone undefeated. So shout out to you, Juliet, and your undefeated season, and thank you for watching. Chase Pellegrin, good morning. Henry Burrell, good morning. Is there a legit concern about recruiting outside the state or losing in-state recruits? So Henry, we've talked a lot about that over the past week, and it's a very good question. And my answer is I'm willing to give it time. Context matters. Like, you were never going to get Arch Manning. He's the #1 player in your state. Okay. You weren't going to get Eli Holstein either. He was the #4 player in your state. Okay. Derek Williams is the safety out of Westgate, who's the #3 player in the state. Now he's going to Texas. That's a problem. The #2 player in your state is Shelton Sampson, a receiver out of Catholic, who is a heavy LSU lean. The #5 player in the state is Jaden Osbury. That's Verge's son, who is not even said to be considering LSU. That's kind of a concern too. So, if you end up landing 1 out of the top 5 guys in the state, that's a bummer. But context matters, and let's see how they finish and if they can get in on some of these guys and how it all goes. So, I tend to, Henry, obviously, you want to recruit Louisiana well. We all know it. I mean, you put the fence around the state. The core of the championship teams are Louisiana guys. For all of the championships from 03 with Clayton and Spears and Marquise Hill and all those guys to, if you look at 7 with Hester and Dorsey, and I mean, of course Flynn came over from Texas, but the 2011 team, which we know how that ended, but got Tyrann Mathieu and that whole team, but and then Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Patrick Queen. I mean, yes, of course Burrow was a transfer, but my goodness, I mean, you got to recruit the state. We all know you got to recruit the state. It goes without saying. But if there's a transition year and this staff is able to plug into its network across the country to bring in highly rated players in this class, okay, if that's what you have to do. But let's see how they finish, man. So is there a legit concern? I don't know that I'd say there's a legit concern. I'd say that it's definitely something you got to watch. I don't know that you're sounding the alarm just yet, if that makes sense. Y'all smash that like button. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it. If you're on YouTube, smash the like button. Facebook, please like the Matt Moscona page. Share the post. At YouTube, please subscribe up to the Matt Moscona YouTube channel if you haven't done so yet. Julio Mendez, good morning. Corey Vuleman, morning from Houston. Came in on you talking about the pitcher having a walk-on. Who is that? Someone had asked about Jack Walker. Was the #1 player in Louisiana a year ago, went to Mississippi State, did not have a good year. As I understand, gained a lot of weight, lost velo on his fastball, just didn't really, just kind of thing, went to college for a year. And I'm not saying he is going to walk on at LSU. I'm saying that's the only way that he would be at. Like, he's not going to be a scholarship player at LSU as a transfer. Daniel Sinetz, what's going on? Brian Wynn, Chance Babin. It's been a few fun weeks with baseball and football, highs and lows of recruiting. Charlie Gale, let's see. Panhandle, got it. Let's see, Brian Wynn. Matt, why do you think Verge Osbury's son isn't considering LSU? Yes, that's a good question, Brian. And as a matter of fact, if you want, when we had Shea Dixon on last week, we did talk about that. So, and by the way, we're putting those Shea was on with us for an hour, and we cut his interview into 3 different parts and put it on the AFR LSU YouTube channel. So if you want to watch it kind of in bite-sized pieces, that's probably a really good way to do it. But one of the things that Shea said, Brian, is part of it's legacy. If you want to just go create your own path, I get that. And he said the other part about a lot of the U High kids is that they want to get away because they've literally been going to school on LSU's campus, many of them since the time they were in middle school. So, I think and you've seen that over the years with a lot of U High kids that left. Now, I mean, you have the example of Nick Brissett who came to LSU, but it feels like more often than not you have, Tim Williams, who goes to Alabama, although Tim Williams had his offer pulled because he couldn't make grades. But somehow Alabama found a way to get him to make grades. Micaiah Tongue, who I think went to Georgia. I mean, you all know the list. I mean, there's been Dylan Moses. There's been a lot of kids from U High that have left. So that's one explanation. I really don't know though. Henry Gordon Bennett, Morning Matt. People need to calm down about LSU not getting Tack Curtis. That's his own doing. All the recruiting services say he refuses to go to campus to be evaluated, so the Tiger staff wouldn't offer. Yeah, I think that's all. He's a kid out of Manny. I think he's an Ohio State lean. Some kids want to go out of state. Okay. Samuel Merrifield, Matt, have you kept up with what's going on with Chad Jones? Haven't heard anything lately. Yeah, Chad made a run at trying to make it in professional baseball. And we did have him on the show. It's probably been a couple of years. Would be worth following up. He's in business and married, kids, just going through life after sports. Love the name Dreadlocks of Doom. I'll catch up with him. That's a good time too. So, let's see. A couple of more. I got to get rolling because I got to get Drew up and Pandemonium. I like it. Shane O'Mac, Wendell Norman. Let's see. Kirk Taylor, Frankie, my wiener dog, found his vocal cords too. Rough days ahead. Brandon, how did the pups handle the fireworks? They did fine. They did okay. And we went to bed early, so when we have Drew's bed is in our room too. So we have a sound machine on that he sleeps with. So it's kind of loud in there anyway with the sound machine. So it was kind of muted. So they were fine. Manny Troncoso having good thoughts for Drew. Thank you, Manny. Hunter, if the Osbury kid goes out of state, they need to can his dad. Good morning. What about Drew Bianco coming to LSU? Should Ole Miss have canned Mike Bianco because his son didn't go to Ole Miss? Come on, I mean, let kids carve their own path. You as a parent would want that for your kid. Make the best decision for him and best life decision. It's fine. Let's see. Mike Sullivan, Kelly can't recruit. Notre Dame is killing it under Freeman. Kelly left Notre Dame because he couldn't recruit 2 players there. Was Kelly the problem? Top players. Mike, I don't know if you're serious or joking. Remember this, okay? Because I know you're looking at a team recruiting rankings and you see Notre Dame higher. And that's all fine and good. If you go look at recruiting rankings, I'm trying to pull up past recruiting rankings. Okay. Notre Dame last year was 7th. In 2021, they were 9th. In 2020, Notre Dame was 19th. COVID. 2019, they're 15th. The thing to keep in mind, so you're seeing top 10, top 15 pretty consistently. The thing with Notre Dame is you will never be able to rely, they were 10th in 2018. You can't rely on the state of Indiana because you're not in a talent-rich state. That's one part of it. You have to recruit nationally, and you are hamstrung by a lot of your academic requirements and things like that. The type of athlete you can recruit. Now, you're going to look right now in the 247 composite and see Notre Dame has the number 1 class in the country. This is like a few years ago when Tennessee had the number 1 class in the country in the summer because they had 22 commits. Notre Dame right now has 19 commitments. 19 commitments. LSU early last week had 5. Now they're at 11. So remember that rating, your ranking is based on the points accumulated in the class. So if you've got 19 commitments, you're going to be higher in the rankings, right? So like Arkansas is 6th. They have 20 commits. Arkansas ain't finishing 6th. So you can marry yourself to recruiting rankings. But I'll look at a larger sample. Oh God, it's 7:55. I'll look at a larger sample size, Mike, and what I'll tell you is, over the course of a decade in South Bend, what we learned about Brian Kelly is he had 2 very dominant positions. He recruited and developed offensive linemen and tight ends exceptionally well, and they had some really good defensive linemen as well. Guys like Stephon Tuitt, and I mean you had good kid from Evangel, Jerry Tillery. They recruited linemen well, and they recruited tight ends. The skill guys weren't ones that really held up. They never had a Jamar Chase there. They never had a Justin Jefferson there. They never had a Clyde there. You didn't have skill guys who were going around 1. And you'll be able to get those guys at LSU, in theory, right? So we'll see if you can. But check back in February at those recruiting rankings and see where Notre Dame is. Will they be top 10? Sure, this is where they've been. Are they going to be number 1? No. All right, I got to get going. Sorry if I missed you. Any more? Chance Babbitt, my 7-year-old son, was singing a song to the Hudco beat. I love it. I love it so good. All right, I got to get going, y'all, because I got to get Drew up and get him out to the doctor. So, y'all have an awesome day. Thank you so much for watching. LSU Daily returns today. If you're not yet, please subscribe to LSU Daily. However you get your podcasts, just search LSU Daily, subscribe, and then, of course, AFR at 3. We'll look forward to seeing you then. All right, y'all have an awesome day. Peace.